And a bit of a different setup here on this episode of Coffee with Graeme with your host, Graeme Forsyth. And this is presented by Amateur Sports TV, as always, and a bit of a new setup. So you can see a bit more of the area here and the coffee cup because it's Coffee with Graeme. So might as well go for that too. I hope everyone is doing well on this long weekend. May long, always a great weekend. It's always nice to get out to the cabin. I unfortunately didn't this year. But I'm here to give you this interview. And today we got a very, very special guest on our show, Aaron Brunn. And Aaron just signed with Marian University in Division III college hockey in the States. So that's phenomenal. I can't wait to talk to him. And speak of the devil, we got Aaron on the show right now. And Aaron, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing not bad. It's been a pretty chill long weekend, not gonna lie. Just had some time to stay home, relax. I'm sure that you've had a pretty nice long weekend too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was good. Didn't get to go out to the lake, but had some guys over, just social distancing, enjoying the nice weather, and took it easy.
Yeah, and it got really hot like Saturday, Sunday. Well, more on Sunday and today too. It's phenomenal weather. And it's great that we got that on the long weekend. So you signed with Marian University. Why do you choose to sign with Marian University?
Their coach, Zach Gaynor, gave me a call, a couple months back, and, it just seemed like they're a good fit for me. Obviously, going down to the States, pricing is a big thing. It's just a very affordable school. Ty Enns is there. Played with him, AAA midget, a good friend of mine. That also helped the decision. And at the end of the day, it was just the schooling. Their schooling really attracted me. And, they had what I wanted to go into, and it made the decision that much easier.
Nice. It's always nice when you go to a school to play hockey or any sport in general, and they got exactly what you want to do to further your education. So what are you taking at Marian University?
So I'm going into business, try and major in accounting, to minor in finance.
So is that something you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I come from a family that's been involved in business. My older brother is in accounting, so he kind of pushed me in that direction, and he's really interested in it, and I kind of grew my interest for it. So that's kind of how that started.
So it's a pretty big thing to be playing college hockey at any age. You're 21, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah. 21.
So I'm assuming your dream was to always play at a high level like college hockey. How proud are you of accomplishing that dream?
Yeah, super, super proud. That's kind of what my whole goal was, ever since I was young, is just go to school and play hockey and get some schooling paid for. And, obviously you want to play at the Division I level, but, find Division III the next best thing. So, I'm just so thankful for the opportunity, and I really can't wait to get started.
Was Marian University your first choice, or was it your only choice, or were you having other offers out there and that was just the one you felt was right for you?
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of offers. I was talking to a few schools, but Marian just, really attracted me, and their program, the way their players are treated, and, it's not a very big school. I also like that, smaller classrooms, have a chance to, connect with the teachers more. And at the end of the day, it's, hockey's kind of second when you're going to school, right? So the schooling was the biggest thing for me.
So you're focusing more on the school aspect of it.
Yeah, I think, obviously the hockey's huge, but schooling lasts forever, right? So hockey may not last forever, unfortunately. So, schooling is obviously a priority one.
So you're a goaltender, and goalie it's a different thing than being a player, right? There's a lot more pressure and all that. Like with going into college, there's going to be a lot of pressure, I'm assuming, no matter what level you play. How do you think you'll be able to handle that pressure?
Yeah, I think, I've been playing for a long time now, so there's different things that you use to kind of handle that. It'll definitely be a big jump. going from junior to playing with, men really at the college level. I think experience is huge. I think just, the more I'm there, the more I play, kind of, the better I'll be able to handle those situations. But I think, I do a lot of things to prepare yourself so that when you're in those situations, you're just able to relax and play.
So people always say that you gotta hone in on your game, think of nothing else. But how it's not that simple. I'm assuming trying to handle the pressure as much as you want to say it. How during your career, how have you felt you've handled pressure in big situations?
When I was younger, I was definitely had a hard time with it. I used to get so nervous and so uptight before, games, and obviously big games was even worse. But I think the older I got, the more mature you get, obviously, as a person, as a player. You just realize, it is what it is. As a goalie, you're going to get scored on. You're going to, things like that are going to happen. There's so many things that are outside of your control. So I think the faster you can learn that, the more able you are to handle the pressure.
And goalie training is definitely, I'm definitely thinking there's some different aspects to that as opposed to if you're a regular forward or defenseman training. How different really is goalie training from what a normal player would do?
Yeah, I think there's some big differences. Obviously, the flexibility is huge. The hand-eye coordination, the visual aspect, I think, is probably the biggest difference. Just working a lot with the eyes and everything like that. Flexibility, obviously, players got to be flexible too, but they're not moving around quite like a goalie. I think you do a lot more leg stuff too. I think just single leg stuff, trying to really build your legs, because that's basically what we use all the time. So I'd say those things.
Would you say that as the years have gone on since you've started like actually training like off ice and stuff, that your regimen has looked a bit different over the years?
Yeah, for sure. When I first started, it was I was lifting a lot, trying to get stronger, and it's as a goalie that's not really necessary at times. So I think I didn't pay as much attention to the eye stuff, like I was saying, the flexibility. So kind of the last few years, that's really been my main focus, and a lot of speed stuff, trying to get faster instead of trying to get bigger and stronger.
And that's the thing, right? Like when you think about strength training and skill training, you're thinking about getting stronger. But as a goalie, it's a bit different. So you got to factor in flexibility, hand eye coordination, all this stuff. And it's awesome to hear that you've really taken those steps to improve your regimen and update it as well. It's really awesome to hear that. What do you find your biggest strength is as a goaltender?
I'm not a very big guy, so I think my patience is really, something that I try and work, extra hard on, um, just so I'm not going down too early. Because if I go down too early, guys have a lot of room to shoot. So for me, it's my patience is what I think is kind of my strong point, and just being able to read the play, trying to be a little faster so I can get set. And the more set I am and score I am, the easier it is for me with the size lacking to make saves.
So you found that with the size you are, because you said you're fairly smaller for a goaltender, do you find that it's tougher than if you were a bigger guy? You got to focus more on the fundamentals. You don't cover as much net.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you're smaller, you gotta be fast. You gotta beat passes, and you gotta make sure that you're set on your feet, because you gotta play a little further out in the crease than the bigger guys. So yeah, that's definitely something that you gotta hone in on.
How do you think that your playing style right now will benefit Marian University the most?
I think just the way I am able to move in the crease. I think I like to think that I can move pretty well. So I think I bring that, and never giving up on plays. Just being a battler. I think that no matter what level that you play at, I think those are important things, and I think they'll help you have success at the next level.
Going into year one, it's your first year going into college hockey. Do you expect to start in year one?
Yeah, I think you always, you have that expectation for yourself. I know they got two good goalies down there right now. But I'm just going to try and come in there and play like I can. And yeah, I want to be the starter, obviously, and if I'm not, then I'll work towards being that. But, you got to set a goal, and that is my goal for sure.
And how excited are you to be coming in with a pretty deep goalie room and ready to compete? How ready are you to compete for that starting job?
Yeah, I think it makes it, competition makes it better. It makes you better, makes the other guys better. And it's, when you have something to work for, it makes it more enjoyable. Nothing's given to you. So I think, when there is that competition, it makes you work harder, makes you better. And I'm really excited for that.
Who would you say that your biggest influences as a goaltender? Like, is there anybody in the pros that you look up to, or is it someone that you've played with?
Yeah, there's a few guys. Obviously, the NHL level, Uzi Saros in Nashville. Just a guy I really like to watch. He's a smaller guy, so him and there's guys that I train with in the summers, like a guy like Matt Radomski. He's a good friend of mine. He's I've leaned on him in a lot of tough situations for myself. Both understand the position, and he's helped me a ton, and just someone that I'd have a lot of respect for and look up to.
So that's cool. You take a lot of influence from goalies that kind of you think have the same style as you do, and you try to get better at. I really like that. You talked about how you train with some guys in the off season. Have you been able to train with them at all this season?
No, unfortunately not. That's been the toughest thing. I haven't skated, and it's almost been a month and a half now, I guess. But yeah, unfortunately, not right now. Just doing stuff on my own at home. But hopefully we can get something going soon.
And I've been asking this question a lot with all the guests on the show. Is it's so hard during this pandemic to really get the same effects of training as you would in your normal gym or in your normal environment. So I guess my question is to you is how have you been adapting at home during this pandemic?
Yeah, just I've been running a lot, trying to get outside, and it really gives me a chance to work on like mobility and flexibility. That's really what I've been focusing on right now. I, Obviously, it's can't. There's no lifting or anything right now. It's been tough to find weights, but just working a lot on mobility and running, trying to just build the endurance. So yeah, it's been tough, but you got to try and do what you can.
And I'm guessing one of the tough aspects of it all is that there's not that person there to push you like usual. So have you found yourself more motivated or less motivated during this pandemic?
Uh, yeah, I think there's times where you feel less motivated. Obviously, it's easy when um, there's someone there pushing you, but I think you got to be able to push yourself. And I like to think that I'm pretty motivated. Some days are tougher than others, but no, I don't think I've had too much trouble staying motivated. I think going into a new environment like Marian next year, it's that's really all the motivation I need is that. So that's what I've been trying to do.
That's awesome. You're setting that goal of Marian being that school that you want to be that starter of. You're setting that goal. It's great to hear. We're gonna go to our first commercial break here on the show. Aaron, it's been fun talking with you so far, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Aaron Brunn here on Coffee with Graeme on Amateur Sports TV. But first, we'll hear from our supportive sponsors. So stay with us, Aaron. Here with Aaron Brunn on Coffee with Graeme, and I keep having to reach over because we got this new setup here with the with seeing the coffee mug and stuff we wanted in there. It's tough for me to go over here and change these banners and stuff, but we'll get used to it. But here with Aaron Brunn, just signed with Marian University. We were talking about that before the break, and I just want to move on to your early playing career, Aaron. You started off way back when with the Pembina Valley Hawks, their midget AAA team. How was that experience for you?
It was a great experience. That was some of the funnest times I've had playing hockey. Obviously, my first year I didn't play a ton on that the year we won, but just being a part of that was so special, especially with the group of guys we had. My second year we struggled, and my goalie partner was Matt Thiessen that year. Drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. So building a relationship with him, he's such a good goalie and such a good friend. That really made it a lot easier, and I think that year really helped me. When you go through tough times, I think that makes you better. That's definitely what happened, I think. Then our last year, we had a really solid team. We had a lot of expectations, and I was lucky enough to play a lot. And when the playoff time came, unfortunately things didn't go our way. But that was my whole experience with PV was just I can't say enough good things about playing there. It was some of the funnest hockey I ever had playing.
And you talked about Matt kind of being a mentor to you, being there for you when things weren't going your way. How big of a mentor is Matt to you now? Do you still talk to him, or?
Yeah, we talk, not too much. But if I have questions, or anything like that, he's more than happy to answer. We talk a lot of things besides hockey just to get our minds away from it. But he's such a good goalie, obviously. Really enjoy watching him play and taking things from his game and trying to use them in mine. And just great goalie and an even better person.
You think playing with a guy like Matt so early on in your career is kind of what paved the way for your success, just kind of learning from just his game in general?
Yeah, and he was, such a competitor, and like I was saying, the competition I think makes you better. And we kind of played the same amount. It was just back and forth. Each guy would go, and we were able to have that connection because we weren't a strong team necessarily, but we were able to help each other stay positive and learn from each other, and it just built a really good friendship. And I try and take things away from every guy I play with. I think guys have certain strengths, and you can always learn, and he's definitely a guy that I think you like to learn from.
You think that it's important for players, like everyone has an ego, obviously, like they want to be the best, but do you think that it's important to kind of drop all that aside sometimes and kind of think this guy could make me better, so maybe I should open my mind and listen to what he has to say and how he plays? You think it's important for every player to do that to get better?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Some guys have different strengths than others, and I think you can always learn. And especially if a guy's having success, and why wouldn't you try and take some advice from him or see what he's doing and try and implement it in your game. So definitely, I think learning from other guys, listening to other guys. If you don't agree with it, you don't have to do it. Just you might take it and put it into your own game, and it works. And I think that's really important.
And I feel like that's a big skill, is to be able to kind of sit back and learn from other people, and you can implement those things in your game to make you better. It's awesome that you're doing that. It's great to see. So you talked about how you guys won the championship in your first year, and then in the second year you couldn't get it done, unfortunately. What were the biggest things you learned from that whole journey and in that loss?
Yeah, it was, I think you learn the most things from, losses and failures. For me, it was more mental than anything. That's kind of when I learned that goaltending was so mental. I realized that you're going to get scored on, losses are going to happen. You can't let that kind of beat you up. So I think that was a really good experience for me. And obviously at the time it was tough, but when you look back at it now, I was so uptight and, like I was saying earlier, just nervous, before games. But now I'm kind of more laid back and, I like to have some fun, before games, during games, because we play it because we love it. So you can't get too beat up over things. And I think going through that really helped me mature mentally as a goalie.
So I know it's always tough to lose, but in a way, you're kind of thankful for that loss because it kind of taught you to relax, have some fun out there, and just play your game.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the biggest thing I took away from it. And I think it was better to do that when I was younger than older. So yeah, I was very thankful for, obviously at the time I wasn't, but looking back at it now, definitely thankful for that experience.
You played one game with Winkler, the Winkler Flyers, in 2015-16, so I'm assuming that was during your time with Pembina Valley. How was that whole experience of playing in your first game in junior hockey?
It was a weird experience. I got to play because the goalie forgot his skates, weirdly enough, but I think it was kind of maybe better that way. I was just thrown into it. I didn't really have time to think about it too much. But just it was an awesome experience, and the guys in the room they really rallied behind me playing, and they were playing real well defensively, trying to do everything they could. And it was just, like I said, a great experience, especially so young. Definitely nerve wracking, but it was a lot of fun.
And that's your biggest takeaway from it was just those guys being able to rally around you and just getting thrown into the fire would be your biggest takeaway. Just you don't have time to adjust anymore. You're in it.
Right, exactly. And they were, like I said, such good guys in that locker room. And I was like, oh, I'm going in, but they were all really excited and happy for me, which made it that much easier for me.
So you played 2 years with Winkler. First 2 years or 3 years?
I played a year and I guess kind of year and a half.
So that first season, take me through what that was like. Your first full season of playing junior hockey. That's amazing. Just what was that like in general?
Yeah, it was awesome. I had a really good goalie partner, Troy Martinick, phenomenal goalie. He had a great year. And being with those older guys, I was 18, and the older guys, helped me a lot. And I think, Winkler is such a good place to play. Obviously the fans there, and it's just, you can't really beat it. It's a great place, and I really enjoyed my time there. And it was just being at home was, obviously too a great experience. And playing at the high level, it definitely was a big jump going from AAA midget. Um, but we had a really good team that year too, and I think that made it easier. And kind of just the more games I was able to play, the more comfortable I felt, and the guys really made you feel comfortable. And practicing every day, facing those shots, definitely made it easier for sure.
What were the biggest improvements that you saw in your game throughout that first season?
I think just at that level, guys are able to put the puck where they want it when they're shooting. In Triple A, some guys can do that, but not all of them. And at the junior level, guys, if they're gonna pick a spot, they're usually gonna hit it. So I think it really helped me, just being, like I was talking about earlier, patient made a huge difference for me. Is something that I really had to adjust fast, because if I was going down too early, these guys are gonna, put it where they want it. So I think I was able to learn the patience, staying on my feet more, and trying to, react after the shooters do. And I think that's kind of a big takeaway I had from playing my first year a junior.
So you'd say that the patience aspect of it all was the biggest thing you took away from year one, and you improved in that aspect the most.
Yeah, because you have to, right? And I wasn't, like I was saying, I'm not a very big guy, so those guys noticed that, and they like to shoot high. So I think that just made it that more important.
So second year, you're going in. You hinted at it that you only played about half a year, 6 games. I'm seeing. I saw that on your prospect profile at elite.com, or whatever that website is. But it had your stats and stuff and said you only played 6 games. Was it that you got injured, or was it that you kind of took a back seat? What was the reason you only played 6 games?
Yeah, I got hurt. I think I got hurt after my fourth game, maybe. A guy kind of slid into me, into my knee, and I think I missed about a month. I think maybe not quite, maybe three weeks. Um, and then when I came back, there was three goalies. So we were kind of, each guy was playing, so you weren't playing every night like you obviously want to. It was kind of tough, and that's kind of how the decision came to move on from Winkler. But yeah, it was a mix of an injury, and there was two other guys there that were good goalies as well.
And I've never been in that situation where you kind of get pushed out by 2 players, but I've had injuries. I played some hockey till I was 17. I faced a lot of injuries, actually, rib injuries and all that, and I know how tough it is to really get back into it. I'm assuming that was tough for you to kind of deal with that too. You're not getting the playing time you want because of this brutal injury. How really difficult was it for you to deal with that injury?
Yeah, it was tough because you work all summer and you're really excited to come in and play and make a difference. I think the biggest thing was just mentally it was tough. That's the hardest thing, is you want to play, but you got to do the things right to make sure that the injury doesn't come back or you make it worse so that you miss more time. And the longer you miss, the harder it gets. So I think mentally it was tough, but like I said, I say it was an experience, and I'm glad I went through it because I went through a kind of similar thing this year, and I was able to kind of look back on that experience and just remember that you got to work hard and try and get back to 100% before you go out there and play. And when you come back, you're going to be better, and then you can worry about that then.
And it's great. That's a big thing about injuries too, right? Is staying on that positive side. And this time around, you said it was last year you got injured, or
This past year. This past year.
yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Last year. Yeah.
yeah. For you to kind of take the experience you had before with injuries and turn it into a positive this year and stay focused, stay ready to work is such a big thing, and I think that's so awesome. Uh, just before we move into your time with the Valley Wildcats, on the stats, you had a smaller sample size but better save percentage. So the little improvements were there. How impressed were you with your improvements you made in those 6 games?
Yeah. Obviously, you always want to improve. I think you just take it with a grain of salt, and it is what it is, kind of thing. Like I try not to worry too much about the stats and everything like that. But obviously sometimes you take a look. But I think anytime you can improve, it's a good thing.
And how much did you develop as a player overall during your 2 years there in Winkler?
Big time. Just maturity, I think, was number one. Being with older guys, and you always you mature pretty quick, and just learning how to handle yourself at that level. I wasn't used to practicing every day, and it's really kind of like a job almost, and you got to treat your body right. Make sure you're getting proper amount of sleep and doing all the things like that. So I think it just really matured me as a player. And then obviously playing at that level, made me a better goaltender.
Well, we're going to get into your time with the Valley Wildcats in just a moment, but we're going to take our second and final commercial break here on Coffee with Graeme Forsyth and Aaron Brunn joining the show with us so far, and it's been great talking to you so far. Stick with us for a little while, and we'll be right back after hearing from our supportive sponsors. So stick with us, Aaron. Back here on Coffee with Graeme for the final part of our interview with Aaron Brunn. Just signed a deal he committed to Marian University of Division III hockey, so it's phenomenal that you did that. We talked about his time in Winkler as well as his time just a bit before Winkler in Pembina Valley, and now we're going to talk about the former team he was with, which is the Valley Wildcats of, I believe it's, what league is it again? The Maritime Junior Hockey League?
Yeah.
So you're from Morden, Manitoba, not from the Maritimes. How was that first adjustment, moving away from home just to a place that you're not too familiar with?
Yeah, it was definitely, adjustment. I had never been away from home like that before. But as soon as I got there, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. My billet family was awesome. I think that really made the transition easier.
And how big was it to have a billet family like you had? Because I'm assuming they were so supportive, like every billet family is.
Yeah, they were awesome. Just as soon as I got there, it made me, feel like I was a part of the family. And they were, very outgoing people, and I'm kind of outgoing, so it made it a lot easier. And yeah, we just had a great relationship with them.
That's great. You're able to build that relationship. I guess your first time moving away from home, you're doing it again when you're moving to go to Marian University. So do you think it's kind of big for you to have that experience of living on your own, going into Marian?
Yeah, definitely. I think it helps. It matures you, and you kind of learn to take care of yourself. And I definitely think that's a big part. Obviously, when you go to school and you're on your own, so I'm definitely thankful for that, and think it's a big part of it.
And obviously, two different leagues, the MJHL and the Maritime Junior Hockey League, are two separate leagues. But how different was the game really from those leagues, like comparing the two?
They're both part of the CGHL, so we compete for the same national championship. It's not too different. It's junior A. Like the Manitoba, guys are maybe a little tougher game, a little more physicality, compared to the out east. I think out east, it's a little bit older of a league too. The MJ is trying to get away from too many 20-year-olds. I think out east they have a lot of 19, 20-year-olds, and teams that really try and make a push for it. But there's skilled players in both leagues. There's really good teams in both leagues. I'd say just the biggest thing is probably the physicality aspect of the game.
And what was your main decision you decided to sign with the Valley Wildcats? Because you said you kind of got pushed out of Winkler. It wasn't really working there anymore. Why did you choose the Valley Wildcats specifically?
Well, didn't have a ton of other interest, and there's the deadline. The first deadline I think is December, whatever it is in December, and I hadn't played in a month, so when they called me, I just wanted to get back to playing, and I thought it would be a good experience. I've never been out there before. If I didn't like it, or it wasn't what I thought, then I could just come back. But it turned out to be one of the best parts of my life was being out there. I loved it out there, so I'm very glad I made the decision.
Two fairly disappointing seasons as a team in general in Valley, as I think you guys failed to make the playoffs twice, if I'm not mistaken. So while playing there, you talked about how you learned a lot from losses. Did you learn even more from the struggles and shortcomings this time in Valley?
Yeah, it was tough. When you get losing, all the time, it can wear on you. It makes coming to the rink tough. But just from that experience I had, before, and this was a whole new challenge, and something that I really think helped me a lot mentally, like going through these tough times. It was tough, but I had such good teammates, and guys that really, they were trying. We were trying to build something so that in a few years they are going to be a really good team. And that was kind of my mindset, is I just wanted to try and be a leader, and they treated me so well that going through those tough times is okay, because I know that in a few years they're going to be a really good team, and that's kind of what motivated me and made it easier to come to the rink every day.
And was there ever, because you talk about morale, that's like the ups and downs and stuff. How big of an effect did it have on your morale and just the team's morale in general? Just those struggles, you're not doing exactly what you're expected to do. You're not winning games like you're expecting. How big of an effect did that have on the morale of the team in general?
Yeah, I know. This year we kind of rebuilt the whole team, and we were really young, and it can be tough, definitely. When you're losing, it can be frustrating for guys. But I don't think I've ever played with a team that was as close as we were. And we realized that they were looking towards the future, and they knew that there was going to be tough times and struggles. Obviously, there was tough moments sometimes. Emotions run high, obviously, but I think the group of guys there, they were so focused on just trying to get better every day. The losses were tough, but they knew that it'll be worth it in the end.
And from year one to year two, I mean, there's a bit of improvement, right? Besides, because you said that you don't really focus on looking at the raw numbers like goals against, win percentage, and save percentage, but all those numbers went up for you. Besides that, what do you think the biggest thing you improved on was that season?
I think just being a leader. I think off the ice, um, we were such a young team, and so I had to be kind of a leader, and try and push the guys, and make sure that they were doing the right things, and that was off the ice. On the ice, my goalie coach that I had out there, just one of the best people I've got to meet and work with, and he was not an overly big guy either, as a goalie, and he really changed my game. Just, he gave me confidence. I think that was the biggest thing, was confidence from year one to year two there. I always tried to play real tall in the net, but he gave me the confidence to kind of sit lower, and just because I'm smaller didn't mean I couldn't stop the puck, and he really gave me that confidence. So I think that was, on the ice, the biggest difference is just my confidence in the net.
You said that the Valley Wildcats you understood that they were looking towards building for the future. Is that a reason that you decided your time was up with that team?
Yeah. I stayed there, and I could have moved on, but they just, I wanted to finish my last year junior there. Um, I could have tried to go somewhere, that was going on a playoff run for my last year, but like I was saying, the guys in the room and my coaches, I was just treated so well, that I just, wanted to stay there and be a part of it.
And you talked about the things that you learned and the things you got better as is being a leader, being more confident in the net. This is the last question I'm gonna ask you, and then I'm gonna let you go. It's been a pleasure talking to you. But before I let you go, would you say that the confidence and just learning how to become a leader are the biggest things you can bring to the one? Not the biggest things, but two big things that are kind of underlined that you can bring to Marian University.
Yeah, definitely. You got to have confidence in yourself, and it'll be the same kind of thing moving into, guys will be, even better than at the junior level. So I think if I can have confidence and play with confidence, that'll really help me adjust early to the college game, and playing with players at that level, um, and being a leader. Obviously, I'll be a freshman. And they'll have guys who are 25 years old that'll they'll be look leaders. But I think I always just want to be a good team guy, and lead in any way I can, and try and motivate the guys, and that's what I'll look to try and bring when I go to school in the fall.
That's awesome, Aaron. And thanks for coming on the show today, man. It's been awesome talking to you, just talking hockey and really getting into a mind of a goaltender, something that we haven't done on this show yet. But thanks for coming on. I wish you all the best in the upcoming season, if it even comes with this whole pandemic. I hope things sort themselves out. But yeah, best of luck in your hockey future and just in your academic future, man. It's been awesome talking with you, and we'll have you on the show again sometime.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Doing an awesome job.
Thanks, man. You take care, buddy.
You too.
Aaron Brunn just signed with Marian University, and man, it was great getting to know him. Great getting to talk to Mr. Aaron Brunn, and that's going to do it for us here on Amateur Sports TV on Coffee with Graeme Forsyth. And of course, folks, I hope you guys had a great long weekend, and it was great weather as we were talking about, just in the 20s finally, almost pushing high 20s consistently, and hopefully we get that consistency throughout during this time, because we got to have something to look forward to. Come on, this whole COVID-19 crisis, something we've never seen before, but you got to look at the positives. And that's one thing I took away from this interview with Aaron Brunn, is he always looks at the positives, never really a negative guy, and he keeps his head high in tough situations. And for that, yeah, it's going to do it for today's edition of Coffee with Graeme with your host, Graeme Forsyth. And I hope you guys like the new setup we have here. We got it more spacious. You can see more of the background. You can see the coffee mug here. Of course, it's Coffee with Graeme, my little mic here. But yeah, that's going to do it for the show. And I hope that you guys did enjoy. You can check this out on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube, and it'll probably be posted on Instagram as well as all our other streaming services. And you can also, yeah, I'm baffling my words here. Look at me, I'm stuttering. I'm going too long here, but also thank you. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Thank you to our supportive sponsors once again. Without you guys, this show and our network wouldn't be running right now. And without you guys, without your support, none of this would be happening. So we thank you guys for supporting the shows, our supportive sponsors. And yeah, until next time, I'm Graeme Forsyth on Amateur Sports TV for Coffee with Graeme, and we're signing off. Have a good one.